In this video, I'm going to share with you 15 ways you can make money from your garden or outside space, whether it be a backyard or a thriving garden. It can even be quite small. It can even just be your driveway. If you think about it, pre-industrial revolution, there was this thing called the cottage industry, and cottage industry, the original meaning was that people who lived rurally in cottages often had their own industry. They'd made their living from their home, usually in the way of either produce or a trade. A classic example would be that the forge would be the blacksmith's house, and his house would be called the forge. In fact, we have a forge in our village. And rather appropriately, my cottage, I believe, back in the 1700s, was the laundry. Would you believe that? Anyway, you didn't come here for a history lesson, so let's just crack on with it. Number one, the first way you can make money from your garden is by selling cut flowers. Now there's a whole host of flower farmers online, and I'm absolutely addicted to their content. And I have actually gone to market myself to sell cut flowers, and it wasn't a huge success because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm going to tell you where I went wrong, so that if you decide to sell cut flowers from your garden, you'll do a better job of it than I did. And the first way I went wrong was to sell flowers that people have all over the countryside around here in their own back gardens. So if you're going to sell cut flowers, sell something that's different. Sell something that isn't sold routinely in the supermarkets or that isn't growing commonly in people's back gardens. Look for more speciality flowers, and look for farm shops, markets, and local florists that are looking for something that you're selling. That's how you would make more of a success selling cut flowers. Another mistake was to pick a market where there were 3 open florists on the same day. And because I was last to the market and new, they put me next to the bins. So the whole thing just didn't go well. But the second way you can make money from your back garden, number 2, is by selling produce. And I have also done that when I used to live near Bristol. And I used to sell produce, and I used to sell home cooked food made with my produce, and that did very well indeed, and it was a pretty good work. So that is another way you can sell it, either as it comes, as it grows, punnets of berries, or if you've got an apple tree, sell your apples. Local farm shops will always like fresh organic produce that's different to what they can get elsewhere. So there's your supplier, or you can just have a stand outside the front of your house, depending on how, honest your local area is. Then the third way you can make money from your garden is by having a nursery. And again, you could sell your nursery plants to local farm shops. You could do market stalls. You could sell them directly off your drive or out the front of your house on a stand, or even sell them online. And of course, the way you would grow your plants is via seed. You could propagate or establish plants from your own garden that you already have, and things like dividing dahlia tubers, etc., or even actually cultivating your own breeds of dahlias would be fun, and then selling nursery plants from your back garden. And like I said, really, you actually don't even need a garden. You can just grow them straight into pots and then sell them. So any driveway or outside space would do, actually, if you wanted to make money from running a nursery from your outdoor space. The fourth way you can make money from your garden is by renting it out. Say, for instance, you love your garden, but you don't actually have time for gardening because you're at work all the time, or your kids are small, or you've suffered an injury recently. I was out of action for a good couple of years after a car crash. So you could rent your space to somebody who doesn't have a garden, or somebody who just wants more space to grow things. You could rent it out on the basis that it's an allotment, or just for somebody who wants to do some gardening and be outdoors. And of course, if they're doing an allotment in your garden, they could share produce with you as part payment, etc. But in the meantime, they would be maintaining your garden for you and paying you for the privilege. Number 5, another way you can make money from your garden is by growing things that you're going to use in your own handmade products. So for instance, in soaps or candles or balms, you can grow your own produce. And obviously, great produce for things like that are marigolds and rosemary and lavender. All these things are used routinely in products that we use, and you would have the added advantage of obviously saving money from buying it in, but also that you'll know that it's organic and pesticide free if you've grown it yourself. And you can even make essential oils, which you can then also use in other products for sale, and then you can sell them on your own website or at market stalls or specialty shops. Obviously, even farm shops would probably take in some of those products if they're locally handmade with good produce and they're organic. Now, number 6 is a way of making money from your garden that you may vary depending on your local authority and where you are in the world, depending on permits, etc. But you could host events, whether they be camping events in your back garden or garden parties or just dinner parties out in the garden in the sunshine. Maybe hire a marquee and serve good food and good wine for ticketed numbers of people. And that would be a really nice way of making some money in your back garden. But you may, as I say, have to check your local authorities for permits. Now, you may be able to just have the odd one or two just to try it first. And then if it's successful and you want to make it a regular thing, at that stage, you may need to go to your council and get a permit or some sort of change of use for your property. Number 7 is selling your own seeds. So that requires, it's a little bit less invasive selling your own seeds because all you have to do is grow your own plants in the privacy of your own home or garden rather, and then once a year collect those seeds and then you can package them up and obviously sell them either to local boutique shops if you have nice packaging or from your own website. I don't recommend selling on websites such as eBay and Etsy, though I do not have experience of selling on Amazon, and I have bought seeds from Amazon, so that probably is a way to go. And the only reason I don't advise you selling on Etsy or eBay is because I've done so myself, and the fees are just absolutely skyrocketing, and I just didn't make any money selling on those platforms when you took all the fees into account. And so all your hard work and effort really is going towards paying them and not yourself. So I would definitely recommend you setting up your own website, maybe run a gardening blog or a YouTube channel and selling your seeds. That way you could advertise your seeds that way. So growing and selling your own seeds is a really good way of making money from your back garden. But nevertheless, you can sell seeds that you've grown at home on your own website and make money from your garden that way. Now, if you have a beautiful garden and you happen to be an excellent gardener, then you can host gardening workshops and events from your own garden. So say for instance you want to run a course on a Saturday on how to garden like you, or maybe you're a florist and you want to do a floristry course in your back garden. So your garden is a great space for hosting events in your actual garden. Maybe you could do a DIY wedding flower course and demonstrate with your own flowers how a bride could condition her flowers for her wedding, and her team, presumably she will have helpers. Unless she's having a very small wedding, of course. And then you could teach her how to condition the flowers, arrange the flowers, and make the flowers last a long time. So using your back garden to host courses and events is another way to make money from your garden. Similarly, if you have a beautiful garden and you have some long-standing horticultural skills that you could share, you could open your garden and do garden tours, either as ticketed events or on a one-to-one basis where people can just buy a slot with you to walk around your garden and you can share your skills and the evolution of your garden and share your gardening tips with people that way. I mean, there are loads of gardens around here where I live. I mean, it is called the Garden of England, Kent, funnily enough, where you walk past with the dog and you think, wow, that garden, they've done a really good job. There's several in my village, actually. I often think about knocking on their door and asking them if I could do a video of their garden to put on my YouTube channel because they're beautiful. but it seems a little bit of intrusive to do that, so I haven't done that yet. But the point is, if people have gorgeous gardens like that, why not share your garden with other people on a paying basis and let people come round and maybe share a glass of wine or something and walk around the garden and explain how it evolved, what skills you've learnt over the years, etc. You've only got to see how many YouTube videos there are out there of people sharing their gardens and how interested people are in other people's gardens to know that there probably is a market for opening up your garden for garden tours on a one-to-one basis, or even like an event. Another way you can make money from your garden is by having a U-Pick weekend. So you could say open it up on a Sunday or a Saturday for a U-Pick event, whether it be you picking produce or flowers. So it obviously depends on the size of the garden, how often you'd be able to do this. If you have a medium-sized garden like mine and you say you sell 10 tickets, I think probably even in my garden at the height of summer, I could sell 10 tickets. That's say for a $20 bouquets, that's £200. £20 bouquet, sorry, that would be a big jar of flowers, and the garden would handle that pretty well. I think I have enough flowers, and then the following week the whole garden could rejuvenate, so I could repeat that U-Pick process and sell those flowers another 20 tickets again. So that's 20 people coming into your garden throughout, say, Saturday and Sunday, picking flowers and then taking them home in a jar or whatever for a fixed fee. Similarly, with food produce, you could do the same. With berries and everything, you have to cost it all up, of course. But I certainly think in my garden, I could definitely do that. And I have quite a small garden, not as small as some people I appreciate, but it's definitely not a big country garden. So, if I think I could do that, probably make $200 a day at the weekend, that's not bad. That's times 4. That's, 800 a month just on inviting people one day a week into your garden to pick flowers. And another way, and I'm just going to sort of like broadly bring all the remaining ones together, the last 5 together. So you could make honey. You could obviously have a beehive and produce your own honey and sell that. You could do pet boarding, and specifically for more difficult pets such as rabbits and chickens, because obviously there's lots of catteries and kennels for dogs and things like that, but there isn't a lot around for people who need someone to take care of their chickens or their rabbit when they go on holiday. So you could do that. You could also open your garden to artists and photographers who could come and either photograph your garden, especially if it's obviously it'd have to be beautiful, and artists to come and paint from your garden. I mean, you could also put that also goes into the events category, where I said you could have an art event where artists pick their own bouquet and paint it in the garden. That would be fun. I think that would be really nice. Obviously, if you have a building in your garden, you could convert that to office space. Since the whole COVID thing, lots of people working from home, they might not find it that easy if there are young children at home, and they might be looking for a great office space to work in. And if you've got an outdoor shed that you can convert or something like that, or even like I have a garage which is converted into living accommodation and office space. So not that we live in it, because it definitely needs doing up, but I did have somebody say to me, you should rent this out as office space, and I did think that was a really good idea. And you can do that without getting permits as well. And if you want to do something a little bit more casual than any of all the other ones that I've just mentioned, you could just have a local event where you do plant swaps and sales in your garden. And that would be a really good way of getting to know other people in your community, just keeping everything formal while you sort of find your feet and see what the demand is for various other gardening businesses in your area. You could also obviously use your garden as your sort of portfolio for landscape and design as well, if you wanted to go into landscaping and design. Okay, there you are. I hope that's food for thought. That's all the things you can do to make money from your garden. An outdoor space is really, really useful resource for making money, and I think we've just all mostly forgotten how to use it. So there's a few ideas if you want to try and make some money from your garden. I wish I'd kind of known all this when my children were young and I kind of was struggling to work a regular job because of the demands of having small children at home is just too much. And I really wanted a home-based job. And I never even thought, even though I was growing masses of flowers, I never even thought of selling them. And it's silly, really, because I knew a florist in Brighton who had a stall in Brighton and who made a fortune selling flowers, and I didn't click. So there you go. Click before I did and make some money. Start now. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell and share with your friends. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. Just before you click off this video, I would like to bring to your attention a little known book that I wrote called Robert the Lonely. I suspect many of my viewers are parents or grandparents and are most likely as worried as I was about your child going online. So you may be interested to hear that Robert the Lonely is not just a regular children's book. It's an old-fashioned style, illustrated, cautionary tale, but it's set obviously in the modern world. Robert the Lonely has loads of relatable characters that your children will relate to that go on the internet and engage in communications with strangers. It's a spooky tale, it's fun, and it has a cautionary ending. So your kids will enjoy reading the book while also learning a valuable life lesson about the dangers on the internet. And if you're still worried about them going on the internet, and let's face it, that's a whack-a-mole thing we can't stop, because even if we don't let them have devices, they will have them at their friends when they sleep over or have play dates. So at the back of the book, there's a questionnaire that you can go through with your child, and that will help you gauge your child's understanding of the themes and the problems and the issues in the story, and it will also teach your children some valuable tools to handle stranger danger online. So if all that sounds like something that would interest you, the link is in the description underneath this video. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.